Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. This is a marvelous Monday, and we're having another wonderful edition of Public Speaking in Business. I am your host, Dr. Samantha DeLoache, your model and pharmacist and professional speaker coach. And I'm just so excited to one, be in another week, and also to have another opportunity to speak with so many great businessmen and women, professionals, entrepreneurs who are sharing tips to help us just be better speakers. They're going to share their journey and just how public speaking has helped their business. And I wanted to bring this series to you. I always mention why I'm doing it because I want you to know that there's purpose behind it. I want individuals to know that public speaking and just communication in general is just so important, so paramount. And when you can give clear communication, then that eliminates a lot of questions, a lot of headache, a lot of confusion. And many people are not where they want to be professionally, personally, relationally, in so many ways because they have not communicated their needs. They have not communicated or articulated their thoughts. And as a business person, you are your number one spokesperson. You're your number one person that's going to be able to tell people about your product or your service. So you cannot be afraid to talk and speak. And I like to use the analogy that the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So if you're not getting your needs met, if people are not understanding what you offer, or you're not getting the results you need, it might be because your messaging or you are not speaking enough about what you have going on. And I'll even take it a step further. If something is important to you and you're passionate about it, then over the course of 24 hours, you should talk about it at least once. That's how I see it. So if you can go a day or days or weeks not talking about your business, your brand, are you really passionate about it? Is it something that you really care about? Because you're not getting it out there. People don't know unless you tell them about it. And nowadays, with the fast paced society that we live in, with social media, sometimes we have to let people hear about us at least 50 times before they will take action. So before, it didn't have to be that much. But nowadays, you got to really show up and, in some ways, show out so people can know about you and what you have to offer. So, again, welcome to another edition of Public Speaking in Business. I want to also shout out the Model Speakers Academy because that's why I started doing this, because I want to help individuals in my academy to become more confident speakers. And we have an 8-week program where we will cover the model systems for success. And the model that we use, or what it stands for, is motivate, organize, deliver, engage, and lead. Because if you're a speaker, you're a leader. If you have the microphone, if everyone is listening, all eyes are on you, then you need to make sure that they see you as an expert, as a thought leader, and you want people to listen or take notice when you talk. Some people do a lot of talking, but are they saying something? Are they having impact? So you want to make sure that your words are having impact and that when you talk, people want to stop and listen because they know you have something valuable to share and they want to get all of that information. So every week in the month of October for the past 3 weeks, I have been doing it on Wednesdays, but this week I'm going to do it Thursday. My free webinar will happen Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because I want you to sign on and find out about anything you need to know about the Model Speakers Academy, get more details about the program, what it offers, and get any questions answered. So I want to see you this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's a link on my website and on my page for you to sign up. So don't hesitate. If you know someone who can benefit to get some structure or just more confidence in their speaking, whether they're a beginner or if they're seasoned, I believe they can get something from it. So enough of me talking. I have an excellent guest that I want to introduce you to, Katie Parks. I'm so excited to have her here. She's coming from Houston. So I love, my folks from Texas. So welcome, Katie, and tell us about your brand and your business.
Hey, 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 thank you so much, Samantha. I am so excited to be here with your audience. And yes, I am your serial entrepreneur, business owner, alongside my husband, co-owner of Video Plus Entertainment. We are an audio and visual company, so we do everything that you can think of from, structured cabling, TV, surround sound, and satellite systems. I'm also your speaker, your people building coach and self-care strategist, which I'm so passionate. I truly believe that's my calling and why God placed me here on this earth. And it's all about using effective self-care to help you elevate to that next level of growth and success. So with that being said, so serial entrepreneur, business owner, coach, speaker, also co-author, soon to be author, because that is what I'm working on right now, my own book. So yeah, I'm happy to be here and just get into this public speaking conversation.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you. I love everything you mentioned. And I do believe that you have to have multiple streams of income nowadays. It's just a fact. And so I think we need to squash that myth that you can only do one thing. Like you have to just pick one and focus. And there's nothing wrong with that if you want to do one thing. But if you're a creative and if you have just a wealth of gifts and talents, I feel like let the world get all of it. So I love also that you focus in on self care because that's really, really important. I know I need to work on that some more. Probably many of the viewers and listeners need to do that as well. So I'm sure we'll get into more of that. But my first question I want to go ahead and start asking is why do you believe public speaking is such a critical skill for business professionals today?
I truly believe that it is important and necessary in your professional career, whether you work for an employer or maybe you perhaps own your own business or aspire to own your own business, because it's what's going to help you get to that next level of your growth and success. Your ability to be able to showcase your talent, skills, ability, and gifts is wrapped in you being able to open your mouth and speak to people, being able to share something about yourself that helps you stand apart from the next person. That's going
Mhm.
to require you to speak. So whether you're looking to go get, that next promotion on your job, or maybe you didn't get it because of the fact that you were apprehensive or a little nervous about actually standing up and saying that I would be great for that role. And let me just ask, what does it take for me to be able to get to that next position? Because oftentimes we think we need to be in public speaking, speaking on a stage or, having the whole room. But no, it is everyday public speaking, no matter where you are, being able to speak and share who you are and embody who you are.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up because you're right. A lot of people feel like, why do I need to know how to talk publicly? Or why do I need that skill set? Or I don't have a business or I'm not a leader. So they think, but yeah, this can help you in any area of your life. And like you said, many people don't get to that next level because they don't know how to open up their mouths and speak for themselves. And I think a lot of times that's tied to confidence. That's tied to not thinking that my voice or what I have to say is valuable. And, it's a lot of things that we just have to kind of break those myths because, it doesn't matter where you're speaking. If it's to 100 people, 1,000, a million, or just to one person, you still need to be able to have a way to organize and clearly state whatever your message is. And then I think also importantly, we need to learn that with public speaking comes active listening. If I'm a speaker, I need to be a good listener. I need to be able to read the room. So I can tell if that people are getting bored or they're not staying in tune with what I'm talking or I'm losing my audience. So public speaking has many things involved, but more importantly, like you said, to be successful, you got to be able to speak up. You have to be able
Mhm.
to talk and advocate for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yes. So the second question is, can you share a personal experience where effective public speaking significantly impacted your career or business?
Well, you know what? And I also believe that significant, right? What's significant for me might be different for the next person. So I always like everybody to kind of think about that. What matters the most to you? So
Right.
one of the times that I really just think back in my early adulthood, I can remember being just getting into management, working as a manager for T-Mobile in the mall. And this is in my like mid to late 20s. And it was about grabbing the ear. Here's the thing about public speaking. It wasn't about being in a room, speaking in front of a lot of people. That came in a little bit later, but it was about getting the ear of my district manager and being able to share some of the significant things that my team that we were doing together to really help us stand apart, which was the reason why he was there anyways, of why we were increasing, our sales were looking good, but it was really about our additional revenue that we were making for the company when it came in terms of data. And this is when data just was starting. Now everybody understands, the internet and smartphones, but this is kind of like at the beginning of that. And being able to share what we were doing differently in the mall, which is a different environment instead of being
Yes.
in a brick and mortar, four walls. And that captured his attention. Me being able to say, you know what, I understand what you're saying, but maybe that worked in that location, but
Mhm.
here, this is a different beast. And being able to agree to disagree, because that's the other part in public speaking,
Mhm.
to be able to advocate for yourself. But
Mhm.
because I was able to speak up and speak to, what we were doing as a whole, it led to a promotion where I was able to go to one of the top stores that was actually in the district. And actually it was a pay increase, it was a promotion, but also compensation for all of that. And then I was also able to get some of my team members promoted into like supervisor positions. So it was a great experience for me when, I'm nervous because here you are having the district and the regional manager. Now thinking back, it wasn't just the district manager, it was the regional manager. And you're thinking about, top executives in the company and whether I should speak and do I have permission to say it? No, I spoke my truth and I spoke on behalf of what we were doing to generate these great results.
Wow. And so I love that example because it's real time. People need real examples. So you were in a position where you had to speak up for yourself. And it was almost like I felt like a pitch you kind of gave. You were able
Mm-hmm.
to say, hey, this is what I did. You were able to concisely tell the stats, the facts. And that's what we have to learn how to do. Like speaking allows us to share a message. And we want a result usually, or we should have that mindset like, what do I want people to feel, think, or do after I speak? So your objective was, I need my representatives, my district managers, my regional managers to know that we're successful and this is our stats, this is our qualifications, and this is why. And because you were able to open your mouth, you weren't afraid. And even if you were afraid, you didn't let the fear hold you back. You
Right.
let it use it to motivate you. You were able to transfer that energy because I think the fearful energy is the same as excitement energy. So
Mm-hmm.
you took that, anxiousness and put it to good use and say, hey, let me sell myself. Let me, share my good qualifications, let me toot my own horn. And there's nothing wrong with that, about being confident and sharing, your receipts of, hey, this is what I've done. And, pretty much advocate for yourself, like you said, and it resulted in more money, a promotion, and you were able to help others. And so we have to realize that becoming a confident speaker can help you on the workplace, regardless if you are in leadership or management or not. It can help you get to that position, or it can just help you get that raise. It can help you, get opportunities that you would not be able to get. So you can never be afraid to be able to properly articulate yourself. So I love that example that you gave. So my next question is, what are some common challenges that many professionals face as far as when it comes to public speaking, and how can they overcome them?
Right. So I truly believe that some challenges could just really be, just with self, right? Your self worth,
Mhm. Yes.
believing and thinking that you're not enough or you're not worthy. As you said earlier, what I have to say doesn't matter and that it doesn't have any value, right?
Mhm.
So when we're in that place, because maybe perhaps, when we were younger, there were some words that were spoke over us that kind of carried from
Mhm.
childhood. And now we
Yes.
brought it into adulthood. Or maybe
Mhm.
you were at work, and someone said, whether it was a coworker or maybe someone in management, or maybe they were concerned that you were coming for their position, and they said something to you, based despite your
Mhm.
ability, despite your skills and what you bring to the table, because they were jealous or they didn't want to see you win. And remember, hurt people, so they
Yes.
projected out, what they're actually feeling on the inside. But meanwhile, you actually took it to heart, right?
Right.
Instead of knowing your worth and knowing who you are, and decided and said, you know what, maybe I can't speak. Maybe, what I have to say, it doesn't really matter. Maybe if I say this, it's going to come off wrong, or people are not going to understand, or it's going to actually hurt me instead of help me or propel me.
Right.
So basically, I would say some things that when you really think about that, to overcome it, you have to really start to ask yourself questions. I think that's all the time when we start having those wrong thoughts and those limited beliefs, right? Low self worth, self esteem, and feeling unworthy. We need to start to ask ourselves, why am I thinking the way I'm thinking, right? That's what it is. Be thinking about my thinking. Where is this coming from? Because it comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
Where's the root? You can't, a lot of time we put a band-aid on it and we think that we can just go forth, but guess what? It's repetitive. It comes back around. It's like a broken record. So we have to see where this stemmed from. And then when we start to think about that, we have to be able to write it down and really be able to examine and reflect so that you can acknowledge it, but we're not going to stay there, right? We're going to be able to, I like to say, replace, right? Remove and replace, excuse me. So we're going to remove those limited thoughts and we're going to replace it with who you are. I like to also say who God says you are. So you're
Yes.
going to be able to say and speak, I am enough. Affirmations do work. However,
Yes.
you have to get into action. You have
Yes.
to get into action with it. And then the next thing I would say that you want to do is you want to trust your voice. Step
Mhm.
into your power. That means you got to do something right
Mhm.
with it because now you know where it came from. Now you're starting to find solutions of how you can overcome it, but then you actually get into action by doing the public speaking,
Yes.
speaking up for yourself, being able to say, you know what, I'm part of this team working on a project. Let me be the spokesperson. Let
Mhm.
me be able to present the information because what I have to say is valuable and it matters.
Wow, now that was loaded and I love it. And I'm gonna try to, process and see if I can remember everything. But I love that you said it starts with yourself. We have to evaluate ourselves. I like to say, find out our why. Why are we doing what we're doing? Why do you want to speak? Why do you want to be a leader? Why are you going to work every day? Why, we need to just start sitting with ourselves and find out our whys because many of us are doing things, but we don't know why we're doing it. Are we
Mhm.
doing it? That's what my mom or my daddy said. We're doing it because I want my spouse to, like, me or affirm me, or it's like we're looking outside to get validation when we need to be looking inside, finding out why. Why are we operating in the way we're operating? And then a lot of times we do have those self-limiting beliefs. We have records playing in our heads, and some of us don't even realize it. Subconsciously, we are doing stuff. It's I think it's a disassociation. I want this result, but I'm doing something that's the complete opposite to get that
Mhm.
result. And it's like I'm doing like a self defeating. I'm just really, really just kind of just destroying my future, or I'm not doing what I need to do. So we got to get into the head of these things, into our mind, and find our whys to see why are we, doing the same thing and expecting different results. That's insanity. That's crazy. So we got to break those systems. Like you said, once we figure out what it is, now we got to replace it. So I love that remove and replace, because if we don't put something else positive there, then that thing is going to come back. So we got to be able to find out why we're afraid to speak, or why we're afraid to speak up for ourselves, or why we're afraid to go after that job, or go after whatever that thing is we want. Why don't we want to do that? What are we afraid of? And sometimes we're afraid of our greatness. Sometimes it's easier to stay mediocre. It's easier to not try to excel or do something different, because once I get to that next level, there's going to be a greater expectation. And so I say, to whom much is given, much is required. So many people don't want to step into their fullness because they're afraid of, really, really becoming that person. And now
Mhm.
I have to get rid of those excuses. Now I got to show up. Like you said, you got to do the work. So a lot of us don't want to do the work. It's easier to believe that narrative that there's something wrong, or that I don't have the advantage, or I don't have the resources, or, it's easy to point the finger out and try to blame others for why we're not succeeding, or why we're not where we want to be. But if we take the time to reflect, we're all adults. So you're responsible. It doesn't matter what happened in your childhood, early adulthood. At some point, we got to take responsibility for our lives and where we are, and we got to do the work. So I love everything that you mentioned in that piece about really how to be, a better person, a better speaker. It starts with ourselves. It starts with that self evaluation. And then after we find out what's going on, or what's wrong, or what needs to be fixed, doing the work to get it done. So,
Yep, absolutely. And let me just say this because there's a difference between self worth and self confidence.
mm,
Self worth is you're born with that. That's what
right,
God has given each and every one of us. We are worthy. We are more than enough. But
right.
confidence grows. Confidence is a muscle. So
Mm,
that actually happens as you continue to move, right? I like to say God will provide, but your confidence will increase. It's kind of also like faith, right? As with the faith of the mustard seed, but as you continue to
right.
keep moving forth, right, it grows. The same thing with confidence. And when you have that confidence, guess what? Now you're becoming, it's increasing. It might not be where you want to be, but you got to start, right?
Yeah.
Take that very next step. And what actually happens is you start to get motivated. I
Yeah.
also like to say that become your best motivator because
Mhm.
as you see, no matter how it went, it doesn't matter if it was great, if it was good, or if it just didn't work out. We've all been there. But what
Mhm.
you did, what did happen was you learned something.
That's
You
right.
got to see your strength. Do it afraid, do it scared. Allow fear to propel you, right? And move you forward. But you took that very next step. So you have to celebrate yourself and pat yourself on the back. and
Yeah.
understand that then with that motivation, now you start to build momentum so that
Mm,
you can continue to move forward and do it again. So I did want to also talk about self-worth versus self-confidence.
yes. And I'm glad you clarified that because there is a big difference. And like you said, confidence is something that we can work on, that we can get stronger. And yeah, we may not do perfectly the first time. None of us are perfect. So don't let the mistakes stop you. But the more you do it, the better you get those reps in. And then, yes, like you said, that the self, I think you said momentum. I don't know how you.
Momentum,
Yeah, you get
right?
the yeah, the more you get the confidence and get moving, the momentum will grow, and you'll soon realize I'm a lot further along than I started. So you have to just be willing to keep moving and keep going. So I love that. So my last question is, what is one essential tip that you would offer to someone who is looking to improve their public speaking skills?
Well, first and foremost, I would say it's always for me as your self care strategist. I'm going to talk about, because I know we're talking about effective communication, and you talked about being a more of a listener, right? And I like to say, listen more than you speak, be an active listener, but it starts with you. So
Mhm.
you have to embrace you. I like to talk about, and honestly, I've actually did coaching for public speaking too as well. And what I told my clients, what I would tell you, you have to embrace and embody your voice, is what it
Mhm.
is. You have to love you with all your flaws and all your scars. You have to own who you are. And I would say you have to be able to embrace your uniqueness and just be you. Bring you to the table. Because guess what? Your difference is what makes the difference. Your difference is what opens up rooms for you. That's where you're going to be able to be impactful. It doesn't serve anyone, and especially not you, if you pretend to be who you are not. So I
Yeah.
would just say own you, embrace and embody your voice, and start there.
Wow, I love that. I love that. You've been just hitting so many wonderful nuggets, but I love it. Like you said, it's as complicated and as simple as embracing yourself
Yes,
because a lot of us don't have that self-love, we don't have that self-confidence, and we don't believe in ourselves. And we got to start with we believe in ourselves first. And once we start there, that's when things will change and get better. So we have to embody, like you said, the belief in ourselves, start there, and then things will continue to grow and get better. But if we don't ever start, then we can't ever expect to get to where we want to be. So it definitely starts with our self-belief. What are we telling ourselves? What are we rehearsing in our heads? And I like to say also, never feel like you can't change your story. You can't change the trajectory of your life, even if things didn't
right.
start out how you wanted it to be, even if things maybe not even going right how you want them now. It's no problem with shifting or pivoting to get to where you need to be, but you got to be honest with yourself. So everything goes back, like you said, to ourselves. What's working? What's not working? What am I feeling? What am I telling myself? What am I listening to? We have to make sure we're listening or have good mentors or good people who can pour into us and encourage us and not just get, information from anywhere, but make sure that we are in tune with a community of people who can support us and pour into us and be honest with us, because sometimes, we are out of line or not doing what we need to do. So we got to get that hard, love, tough love. But ultimately, it has to start with ourself, our thought life, what we're telling ourselves, what we're believing, and what we're actually willing to do.
That's exactly right. You got to trust your voice and you got to
Yes.
take back your power, right?
Yes.
It's like that example I said earlier about me being a young manager. I had to seize the moment. This
Yes.
was an opportunity, and it wasn't just about me. And that's the thing we need to always realize, it's never just about you. And for me, that's not how God operates, anyways. It's all about, think about the people who are waiting to hear and listen to the things that you have to say. It
Yes.
does matter, and sometimes you may not even never know that they were listening, because maybe you were not able to know them in that way. But again, just like we're here on social media, right? So this is an opportunity to help the next person.
Absolutely. And so that was wonderful. You got to be able to take every opportunity. I love that, because sometimes opportunities only knock once. So you have to be prepared. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And I like to say also, I believe it's a saying that says that success comes when you have your practice or your preparation meets that opportunity. So if you've
Hmm.
been preparing, when the opportunity arrives, then you're going to get that success. So we got to be constantly preparing, constantly working on ourselves because we don't know when that opportunity is going to come. And so you were already in that state, you were ready because you knew the information, you knew about the company, you knew about your stats, you knew what you did, you knew what your company, your team had to offer. So you were able to perform, be able to say what you need to say, and it was done. And then I love that you mentioned it's not about us. As a speaker, we need to realize we're here to help the audience. So a lot of times when we're fearful and it's always, oh, I think I'm gonna mess up, I'm gonna forget, or you're thinking about yourself too much when you need to be thinking about, hey, I'm here to give a gift to the audience. My message is a gift. What I have to share is a gift. So let me focus on how they're going to receive it or what I can do to make the message digestible or memorable for them. So we got to remember that a lot of what we experience, professionally, personally, it's not for us, it's for someone else. We're going through these tough times, these moments, because like I mentioned, or we talked beforehand, I've had some tough moments in 2024, but I believe all these tough moments are going to help me have a stronger testimony. What I'm going through is not just for Samantha. I'm going through and getting through so that I can share my testimony like, hey, I had some adversities too. I had some tough moments too. I had some people turn their back on me or things happen that I was not expecting. But God, I was able to make it. I was able to still go through. And if I can do it, you can do it.
Amen.
Yes, thank you so much. So I really appreciate you being here today, Katie. And how can you tell the viewers how to follow you, how to stay in contact, or do you have anything coming up that you want to share with us?
Absolutely. So you can actually follow me on Facebook. It's Katie Parks-Bradshaw. On Instagram, it's I am Katie Parks. On LinkedIn, it's Katie Parks. And also my business, again, is videoplusentertainment.com. So if you're looking for some services, audio and visual services, we can definitely take care of you. That information is on my social media too as well. You can also book you a discovery call. This is free 30 minutes where we kind of just talk a little bit about your effective self-care, because I am your self-care strategist, your people building coach. And I truly believe that through effective self-care is how you elevate to your next level of growth and success. So we can actually release what
Right.
no longer serves your well-being. And far as what I have going on, let me tell you, God has set me down, and I am definitely coming, but He has set me down in this season, right at this moment, for
Mhm.
a season of rest. He
Wow.
has actually been redirected my path in a lot of different, not a lot of different, in a new direction. And I
Mhm.
have embraced, because that's the thing about being obedient. I have embraced it. So as soon as there's something that's going to be happening, you will see it on my social media. But right now, I'm being obedient and I'm going to move as He says to move. As far as you booking your call or getting your services, entertainment, I'm here to assist.
Well, that is awesome. And I'm going to include all of these links so that everyone can follow you and know, stay tuned so that when you're out of your rest season, out of your sabbatical, you'll be able to get in contact with you. But thank you again, Katie. I really thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. And I hope you viewers enjoyed it as well. Again, you've heard throughout this entire conversation that public speaking is so important to help you get to your next level, but you got to start with you. You got to start with your why. You got to make sure that you understand what it is you want to do and know that sometimes you got to do some work to get to that next level. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. So, again, I hope you enjoyed this edition of Public Speaking in Business. Come back tomorrow. I'm going to have another great talk with another great business professional. Until then, I want everyone to stay blessed, stay safe. And if you've missed any episodes, you want to go back on my page, go to my YouTube or my Facebook page or LinkedIn to catch some previous episodes. And if you're watching this one as a replay, put hashtag replay so that I can know that. All right, everyone, have a good afternoon. And thank you again, Katie.